one of the things I was listening to a couple Boston pods because I did like 12 hours of driving this weekend, so had a lot of time to kill. And they were like, he was bad, this, but he was good at drafting, is one of the things that they said. Now, one of those marquee draft picks was Marcelo Mayer. And I kind of wanted to just kind of let's look at this
Cue
for a
some
second.
dramatic music here.
Let's look at this for a second, everybody. Yeah,
Oh, is Jackson Jobe turning the tide of this conversation? Dun dun
I'm
dun.
just gonna say this. I know for sure this year he's not playing anymore. They shut him down for injuries. Uh, I think 2 years of season-ending injuries. I think. I wish I would look this up. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but he has had injuries his entire pro career. He's been that's part of his profile to this point. This year he played 43 games at Double A. All right, he hit 189
Ouch.
with a 254 on base.
Ouch.
And this was a quote from a Red Sox podcast. His profile to this point is like major league profile to this point is worse than Jeter Downs.
Ouch.
Jeter
That's not
Downs,
what you want to hear.
who obviously did not work out, but if you look at his minor league numbers, there was nothing that kind of indicated like this guy would flame.
Right.
Uh, and so there's some concerns for Meyer in Beantown. Not freaking out, but there's concerns. Jackson Jobe has kind of slow played his pro career, partially injury, partially organizational plan. He did just make a start in Double A, Cody. 6 innings, 6 Ks, no runs. I just don't count him out, everybody. The real conversation would be, why did you not take Jordan Lawler? That's the real
Hey, I
conversation.
was gonna say, how about you know what? Both teams were dumb. They should have taken Jordan Lawler. That's the new take, right? I'm not trying to flip flop on the take. I still think the Tigers should have taken Marcelo Mayer. If you were to ask me today, if you're asking me last year, this time, who would you rather have? I'd say Mayer by a million. If you were to ask me now, who would you rather have? It's pretty close. I think I'd lean Mayer just because I want the hitter, man. I want the shortstop prospect. But in 189 in Double A, while Jackson Jobe's stock, since he returned from injury, has been shooting upward pretty rapidly. Shout out Mr. Jobe for making this an interesting conversation once again.
I mean, I think next season we're gonna have to maybe semi regularly kind of give updates on this because I mean, I think for a while the conversation was over. Of course, unfairly, but the conversation was
It's
over.
continued. We said this last week, but it's just been Al Avila having a great week, man. Reese Olson, Sawyer Gibson Long, suddenly Jackson Jobe looking better than Marcelo Mayer. Like, too little, too late. But
Yeah, well,
some of the
you
last
know,
moves of the Avila era suddenly looking pretty solid.
well, speaking of pretty solid, victory laps also for people who were pro taking Wyatt Langford because homeboy
Yeah.
been raking. He's already up to Double A. I think he's actually about. They
They
just
they
called
they're
the
putting him in
yeah,
Triple A
yeah,
so he can keep getting at bats for
yeah.
another two,
So he's
three
gonna
years.
make it to Triple A. I know he's a college guy and all that stuff, but in 11 games in Double A, 447 average, 551 on base, 845 or around there slugging. He had 3 home runs in that time. He was killing it in Double A for the Frisco Rough Riders just down the road from my recording studio. So early edge here, Langford over Max Clark, who is doing about what you would kind of expect an 18, 19-year-old. I don't know when his birthday is. Just kind of thrown into the thick of professional baseball, hitting like what 220. So but he's gaining the experience. But the Langford draft buzz was real, and honestly, if he went number 1 overall, it would look like a decent pick already. And he ended up going 4th. So
Yeah.
shout out to the
Well,
Langford people.
I guess the Meyer thing is a great reminder. Probably too early to really make a stark judgment here, but I'll stand by the take. Like I think Max Clark can be a really good player. I would have rather had Langford. Um, we'll check in on that one from time to time too, and see where we end up. It's a hard industry, man. It's not easy making these decisions. We get to sit here and second guess, and luckily our jobs aren't necessarily on the line when we do that. And it is for scouts and executives. And again, Jordan Lawler, all that guy's stock did was fall leading up to the draft.
I wanted to love him, and I was just like,
He was like, oh, he can't hit. He strikes out too much.
He's
Suddenly,
a little older.
He's like the best prospect in the class. Like what?
Like
crazy.
There's gonna be like joint bobbleheads in Arizona of him and oh my god, brain fart.
Corbin Carroll.
And Corbin Carroll, brain fart on that one. Sorry about everybody. But yeah, they're already kind of making themselves out to be like the torque and green in terms of the bro aspect and the young prospects coming up, even though Carroll's obviously already in the major leagues. So yeah, it's I just think it's kind of fun to update. I think it's worth noting that Jackson Jobe, it's not like he was not considered a top tier prospect, right. The shock of everything that went on a couple of years ago, but he was picked third for a reason. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of it come together. And next year becomes a huge year for Jobe. Huge. So just don't count him out, is all I'm saying.